Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to another weather forecast here by Agent of the Forecast, and I do apologize for the extremely late forecast. I didn't want to have a 2-day gap of no videos, specifically as we're watching out for a major front that bring in a really rare setup for December severe weather, and as well watching out now Windstorm Atticus has now been officially named. I believe it's the latest letter A ever to be named by the Weather Channel since the alphabet system has begun, which is over a decade. So this is definitely a time where you don't want to skip uploads. So I'm only going to be talking about the windstorm in this video, but tomorrow I will be talking about the severe weather. I just don't have enough time right now. I got homework, I got Thursday night football. Football fans know what I'm talking about, but I just don't have enough time to talk about both parts of this front. So I'm going to be talking about snow, since I know the majority of my viewers like snow over severe weather, but tomorrow I will have subject on both. But without further ado, let's get in the forecast on the major windstorm Atticus. So this is definitely obviously going to affect millions. We have winter storm warnings stretching all the way from the Rockies of Utah all the way up to portions of the upper peninsula of Michigan. So right now we're currently seeing overnight into tomorrow morning, we're going to be seeing this low pressure and cold front setting in place across the Rockies. We're going to be seeing a positive tilted trough kind of dip across much of the western United States. So we're going to be seeing some really cold air as well. Some really strong winds, specifically in the areas of Mexico and as well the south central portion of Texas. That's where we're going to be seeing that really amped up winds. But with this cold air and this really strong front, we're going to be seeing a perfect setup for the storm. Like I said, this is going to be practically a cross-country storm going all the way from the southwest towards portions of the upper Great Lakes. But in these pink counties, we have winter storm warnings, again, including very big areas, including the Twin Cities of Minnesota, much of the upper Midwest, as well as stretching all across the central Midwest, including upper Nebraska and South Dakota. So that's going to be stretching all the way from Utah. And the reason why we have such a thin area of winter storm warnings is because it's going to be specifically areas northwest of that low pressure track is where the best snowfall is going to be. And then we have winter weather advisories kind of sandwiching these warnings. So if you're not in warning, you're most likely in an advisory if you're close to it. So definitely millions from the Rockies all across the central United States, including Nebraska, Minnesota, Iowa, Wisconsin. States that haven't gone too much snow this year are going to be up for a large and massive storm. So definitely going to be watching out for some dangerous travel later tomorrow into Saturday. So I want to go ahead and look at the overall convective models, which will be the HRRR and the NAM. I don't want to spend too much time on the global model since it is in a short range. So like I said, I'm going to have a very, very fast forecast with this. I'm not going to be going into the cold front or anything like that. I'm just going to go straight into it. So here's a latest look at the NAM 3 kilometer 18 Zeus, like I did say, with this very cold air, specifically as we go toward the overnight lows and the higher elevations. We are going to be seeing very cold precipitation, going to be seeing some really heavy snow throughout the overnight hours currently from now on all the way towards tomorrow morning. So definitely going to be seeing some dangerous conditions for areas near Salt Lake City as well towards Jackson and eventually getting towards Cheyenne, Wyoming. And as we now go later on in towards eventually practically very, very early tomorrow morning, we're going to be waking up to very widespread snow all the way from portions of near Rapid City, South Dakota, portions of I-40 all across then western Nebraska, stretching all the way. Since this cold area is going to be, obviously, we're going to be seeing kind of low pressure acting like a prefrontal low pressure. We're going to be seeing this cold front actually way behind it. So a lot of that snow is going to stay either west or northwest of that low pressure, which is why areas in those winter storm warnings are to the northwest of that track. So it's going to remain that way. As we now go towards tomorrow mid-morning, this snow is going to continue to follow as this low pressure tracks basically directly to the northeast. This snow is going to be following it to the north because obviously, since it is going to be a rather fast moving front, the cold front doesn't have too much time to catch it with that low pressure. And again, with that really intense high pressure and ridging we're still seeing across the Mississippi River Valley, it's just not going to be the best setup to see much snow anywhere east or south of that low pressure. So if you're in Omaha, if you're in Kansas City, you're probably going to run just out of luck. However, Omaha does have a chance later on eventually, but still missing out a lot. But as we now go towards noon tomorrow, going to be seeing a massive uptrend Going to start seeing a lot more moisture convection start to come in from the Gulf of Mexico. So we're going to be seeing some rain start to develop as well, even closer towards the freezing line, which will basically be right on the low pressure location. We're going to start seeing some very intense ice and freezing rain. So if you're practically right on that low pressure predicted track, so it's going to be kind of anywhere from southeast Nebraska all the way towards portions there of northwest and north central Iowa, and eventually southern Wisconsin. We're going to be really watching out for a massive ice threat. And the reason why this ice threat is going to be massive and definitely a very significant factor is because once this ice moves out, this cold air and cold air advection, as well cold conveyor belt, is going to kind of split like this. This cold conveyor belt is going to allow for very, very heavy snow to now replace those areas of freezing rain and sleet. So now that the surfaces, including roads, mailboxes, ceilings, sidewalks, are all frozen, and the snow comes in by the overnight hours, so it's already going to be well below freezing, the snow is going to automatically stick right on contact because of the ice and because of the overnight hours. And eventually, it's going to go towards, obviously, we're going to be watching out for that really severe weather, that's discrete mode across the Mississippi River Valley, and eventually it's going to upscale into really intense QLCS. But we'll be talking about that later tomorrow. But as we go towards now, tomorrow night, this low pressure is going to start steepening a lot. So we're going to be seeing very, very, very intense snow to the northwest of that low pressure, including the Twin Cities, north central Wisconsin, the upper peninsula of Michigan, and then we're going to be seeing that snow on the backside toward that cold conveyor belt. So it could get some snow for probably far northern Kansas. Could get a few flurries for Kansas City. And then as we go towards Saturday early morning, as the low pressure is eventually far towards Ontario, any remaining moisture towards that cold conveyor belt is going to be very heavy snow. So we could still get some decent snow accumulations for Madison, maybe Des Moines. Chicago could get some snow flurries, but definitely you can just tell based if you look at the overall track of this low pressure where that freezing line is going to be, or let me read that again, where that freezing line is going to be right there. The most snow is going to stay to the northwest. So definitely like areas like southern Wisconsin, far southeast Iowa, far north central Kansas, far northern Missouri, even portions of north central Michigan that aren't going to be in the upper peninsula are going to miss out a lot because of this very weird setup. Let's now look at the overall ARRR, very similar. Mountain snow, obviously, tonight. And then as we go towards tomorrow, the rush hour, so this is going to be 6 a.m. Eastern, so we go towards 9 a.m. Eastern, that's going to be 7 Central and 7 Mountain Time, 8 Central, basically just really during a little bit later than rush hour. We're going to be seeing very, very heavy snow all across South Dakota or northern Nebraska. As the low pressure advances into Minnesota, we'll get towards Minnesota and Iowa. And as we now go towards tomorrow, 3 o'clock, so at this point, schools will be letting out. It's going to be seeing very, very ugly travel conditions for areas near Sioux Falls, northeast Nebraska, southeast South Dakota. So if you're kind of right to the north of that low pressure track or northwest, you're not going to have a fun time. It's going to be very heavy snow. And areas a little bit on the backside, kind of to the far west, you're going to be seeing eventually some lighter snow, but still the coldest air will be eventually, the coldest air would actually be in those areas. So you're going to be seeing a lower snow ratio to the far west, and then a lower snow ratio closer to that low pressure. So very wet, heavy snow. And as we now go towards tomorrow night, we hear that really heavy snow now, replacing that freezing rain. But going to be seeing some very dangerous ice across Madison, Wisconsin, probably eventually towards Green Bay, even including as well portions of I'd say probably Iowa City, central Iowa, all those good areas. And then by 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, and then 11 o'clock, there's very heavy snow is not going to be in towards portions of the upper peninsula, north central Wisconsin, and eventually towards that cold conveyor belt and that cold air advection. That snow will start to dip to the southwest, so it could still some snow towards Omaha, Iowa, Sioux Falls, and as you can tell, we kind of have just the main areas to watch out for. I think the bullseye is going to be these areas right here. I think this is my personal bullseye for the forecast. These areas are just going to be absolutely just rushed by the snowfall. Here's the overall NAM 3 kilometer totals. I mean, look at this monster storm. I mean, look at this. Oops, I did not want to move that. Look at this rapid accumulation. We're going to go practically This snow is not going to start accumulating towards western Nebraska and western South Dakota till the next few hours, and then right after that, we just get a dump of snow. But look, I'm going to be seeing within the next 12 hours, just alone 12 hours, we're going to be seeing up to 2 feet across the Rockies, and eventually after that's going to become a lot very, very widespread. Look at this rush of snow, like I said. Areas northwest of that track, or that low pressure track, are going to be absolute bullseye. So, like I said, this is the general area to watch out for. And look how the Twin Cities are in the middle of that. Aberdeen is not really, but you have Sioux Falls, you have Rochester, Sioux City, you have Elk City somewhere here. You got Valentine, you got North Platte somewhere here. You have Rapid City. You got really big cities, and then you got Eau Claire. Then you got Marquette. You got some really big cities ahead of us. All those going to be avoiding the bigger ones like Omaha, Des Moines, uh, Iowa City, Davenport, Madison, Milwaukee, Green Bay. It's going to be avoiding the bigger cities like Traverse City, Muskegon. It's going to be avoiding the biggest cities because obviously they're going to be a little bit more towards that one conveyor belt. We still could get anywhere from trace an inch across Madison, Iowa, and all that. That's going to be the main area to watch out for. But this is definitely by far the bullseye. If we look at the overall, even the HRR, they even agree with that bullseye. Even the GFS agrees with that bullseye almost perfectly. So very, very, very heavy snow all across this main track. So we can be seeing anywhere from over a foot all the way from Utah, Arizona, New Mexico, all the way up towards Michigan. So we could see over 1,300 miles of just straight paths of over a foot. So it's going to be a really long scar. There's that low pressure track that's going to be all to the northwest, and as that low pressure steepens dramatically, you're going to be seeing even heavier snow, probably over 2 feet across portions of upper Michigan. But definitely southern South Dakota, northern Nebraska, east central Wyoming, all the way towards southeastern Minnesota, southern Minnesota, northwestern Iowa, north central northwestern Wisconsin, and of course a far northwestern and north central Michigan. The main area to watch out for. Twin Cities, if we actually go to zoomed in, the Twin Cities could probably get anywhere from 10 to 15 to even 16 inches of snowfall. Could get scattered areas of over 18. Could get scattered areas near Marquette closer to 2 feet. But look at the big difference. I mean, look how even Green Bay is going to be missing out because it's going to be the northwest of that low pressure. So Green Bay make it maybe 3 inches, while areas just maybe I say 50 miles to the west get over a foot. So definitely going to be even the Panhandle. Look at this. If you go towards even the west, the central Panhandle, going to get over half a foot. You think that's big? Well, could get over 23.2 inches, nearly 2 feet. So this is going to be a big storm ahead. Same thing, the H bar is pretty much agreeing. It's a little less intense at the beginning, still having that big swath of snow, kind of from all the way at the western Rocky or western Colorado and the Rockies all the way across. Of course, you're gonna go seeing that really intense snow all across the central portion of the Midwest, including southern South Dakota, north central Nebraska, and of course east central. So still gonna get some really intense snow across those areas, and still getting that very intense snow towards the more urban areas, which will be the upper Midwest, and be seeing that very intense snow towards the Twin Cities, which would obviously lead to some dangerous travel. This is actually looking at the 19Z. We want to look at the 18Z. There we go. This is what we want to look at. If this can load for us. Not sure why it chose to go to the 19Z, because the 19Z doesn't go that far. We're trying to look at the... There we go. So getting a good 7 to 14 inches for the Twin Cities. It is going to be a little bit further towards the urban areas, the HFR, so could still get maybe a chance for maybe 2 inches for Madison. Still could get a chance for an inch in Des Moines. Could still get a chance for maybe a trace near upper Illinois towards that general area near Rockford. But look at this huge difference in the snowfall for the overall central and eastern upper peninsula, going from 11 to 15 to where only 5 to 8. So that's a pretty big difference. It is taking it a little bit further to the east, and the track as well. Traverse City getting a lot more action. Green Bay getting half a foot. That's more like it. Sheboygan getting a lot more snow, and then areas towards kind of a little bit further northwest are going to get a lot less snow, to say the least. So it's taking a little bit more of a different track, and of course, GFS hasn't changed much. Seeing that overall really intense track of course, practically over a foot across much of these areas. I mean, it's not really different. Northern Nebraska, southern South Dakota, eastern Wyoming, then of course and towards the upper Midwest. This is also not too much different. It's kind of pretty much it's kind of more of a blend between the both. You can kind of tell here's the main track. It's kind of a blend of both, so you can see it's kind of including the favoring and bias towards the central and eastern upper peninsula, and then it's including the bias of the western peninsula. So hope you guys enjoyed the video. It's definitely a big storm ahead, and I hope you guys enjoyed it, and see you guys later.